Well, let's expand on this now with Sreeram Chaulia, who's Professor and Dean of the Jindal School of International Affairs. Dr. Chaulia, welcome back to RT International. Thanks for coming on. We mentioned the figure there, $100 billion. How urgent is that money needed, according to the Iraqi government?
Well, it's clear that post-war long-term reconstruction requires significant financial support from abroad for a country that is just recovering from what has been a horrific long series of wars, starting with the US invasion of 2003. So I think it smacks of historical irresponsibility on the part of the United States, which began this slide towards state collapse and state failure by overthrowing Saddam Hussein in 2003, to now wash their hands off it and say, you know, we're going to just leave it to private sector and we'll ask our allies like Saudi Arabia to come in and pitch in the money. I think the US needs to own up for some of the destruction that it has done in the process of these series of wars. And secondly, I think it's showing a lot of mean-spiritedness on the part of Trump administration, because this whole tight-fisted attitude they have, thinking that other countries are exploiting them, taking advantage of them, and that the US is being fleeced, is completely wrong, because that's one way the United States maintains influence around the world through civilian aid. But they have, I think, moved away from the strategy. They're now focused purely on a militaristic approach, where they have cut aid for UNRWA in Palestine. Now they're going to say they won't give any money to Iraq, probably very less to Syria as well for reconstruction. And the strategy is to actually finance militias. They're saying we're going to have 30,000 Kurdish armed groups in the north of Syria who they're going to maintain for so-called stability, but it's more like a military base and a long-term presence strategy that they have. So I think it's wrong-headed, and frankly, if they leave it to the allies like Saudi Arabia for reconstruction of Iraq, I think they are very sectarian, and it is going to actually increase the pressure on Iran, and it will exacerbate the sectarian rivalries in the region. So United States, I think, should be rethinking this strategy and should be looking at supporting a peaceful long-term peace, which depends upon economic reconstruction, livelihood, buildings, telecommunications. They are only looking at it either as a business opportunities for their companies, or as a purely military strategy where we'll bomb the hell out of a place and then not take up responsibility. So I think it's a very negative approach that they've taken, unfortunately.
Dr. Chaulia, I mean, even if the will was there, $100 billion is an astonishing amount of money, even for a wealthy country like the United States. I mean, presumably others do have to play their part in trying to help rebuild Iraq.
Of course. I mean, there's no doubt. But you see, the US has some convening power, and they have an ability to bring together donors, and they should be using all these levers if at all they are concerned. But I think they have more strategic goals, which is simply to work for Saudi Arabia and counter Iran in the region. So they are not thinking in a very long-term vision for Iraq itself or for Syria itself. They see these as battlefields, not as opportunities to rebuild, and that is the unfortunate myopic view, which is going to lead to long-term suffering, because these towns and cities have been so devastated that they need all support, including United States.
OK, for now, Dr. Chaulia, thanks very much for joining us on RT. I appreciate your time.